Thanks, G, and thanks, Christine, as well. So yeah, this is just an overview of some of the screens that we ended up creating. And what I'm going to do is talk you through a few of the key screens one by one and explain what you're looking at and why we decided to put these features in. So this first screen is the homepage that students will see when they're logging back into Brainiac. So there's an encouraging message at the top to acknowledge effort and increase their confidence. And you can see in orange, there's an exam countdown. So the homepage is customizable, so students can choose whether they see this or not. And we found in testing that some students found countdowns like this really motivational, but others found them pretty overwhelming. So this customization meets the needs of everyone, depending on what they want. Next to that, there's a pick up where you left off feature, and that's just going to allow students to jump right back in without having to search or navigate different areas of Brainiac. And towards the bottom, you can see recommended content, and this is going to be pushed based on areas that the students maybe been having difficulty with, not devoting as much time to, and essentially every student is going to have a homepage that's highly relevant to their personal journey. And Rebecca's got a little quote for you here. She's saying, "This really encourages me without making me feel patronized. I feel like I'm taking control of my learning." So moving on, this is what was called the dashboard, and after feedback from testing is now called My Progress. So this area allows students to track their progress as well as access tasks that they have set themselves. It's just aimed at giving students a sense of control over their studying once again and improving their confidence. Now, students set their target grade, so that's the grade they'd like to achieve, and there's also a current working grade, which Brainiac is going to constantly update based on their performance in the app. And Rebecca here is saying, "I love being able to see at a glance how much I've achieved. It's really helped build my confidence." The next, this is an example of what a practice question might look like. So you can see that we've gone for a more handwritten style of the drawing at the top, which was quite well received in testing. So you can see at the top, there's points to be won for each question. And what we learned speaking to students was that gamification during practice really helps them stay engaged and motivated. Down at the bottom, you might be able to see in very small the virtual tutor. So she's always available, but she remains inconspicuous to begin with. And this encourages students to attempt to answer a question without help to start with, but it makes sure that they never feel unsupported at any point. You might remember from the brief at the beginning that the virtual tutor is where the AI is really going to come into play. So she's constantly going to be adapting the way that students learn and changes her teaching approach accordingly. And finally, for this page, the students can save any content that they wish to come back to. So Rebecca's here saying, "I find this a lot less intimidating than how questions look in textbooks." So this is the same screen, but it's how the practice question will look once the virtual tutor's activated. So you can see there's a hand there that's pointing and updating dynamically each time a student chooses to take, each time a student gets to a certain hint. You can see that the points, we may have noticed that the points have gone down from 20 to 15. That's because the student's chosen to take a hint and it's costing them points. And finally, the students can choose to stop the tutor's explanation at any stage, which is going to foster a feeling of control over their learning, which is a theme that came up again and again during testing. So Rebecca is here to tell us, "I like having control over how much help I get from the tutor. When I think I've got it, I can do the rest on my own." So, this next section is profile, where the student can see their points and their badges that they've won. So as well as things like the streaks for the number of days they've logged on. So this section is meant to be lighthearted, fun, having a strong focus on gamification. It's really just trying to make the learning experience less daunting and more engaging. Students can collect points not just for performance on tasks, but also for some things like time commitment, consistently returning to Brainiac, and it's really just trying to help students stay motivated regardless of academic ability. And Rebecca is mentioning, "I find it really encouraging getting badges for effort. It makes me feel proud of my achievements." And this is the final screen we have to show you, which is where students can set their notification preferences. So Gia already mentioned this when she was going through the concepts about the notifications. So this is a pioneering approach to personalized notifications, which is offering every student a delightful experience of Brainiac. And this particular area was especially well received by our client. So you can tell Brainiac the time of day that you study best, and this will enable it to prompt students at just the right moment to maximize engagement. And there's also an ability to control the frequency of notifications rather than just turning them off and on. And that allows Brainiac to provide the most effective balance. And finally, students are able to choose the tone of the notifications. So whether it's more of a soft and encouraging approach or maybe a bit more authoritative, whatever works best for them, it's really just trying to ensure they feel understood, supported, and motivated to learn. And Rebecca's final thought of the day is, being able to choose how and when Brainiac talks to me really makes me feel heard and understood.